Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, not here with Geeky Sparkles in this video. We're going to talk about boring stuff. We're going to talk about TikTok, that TikTok sale, and the rumor that Bobby Kotick wants to buy TikTok. I don't know if Bobby Kotick can afford TikTok, but I don't know how much TikTok is going to be worth, because apparently when they sell TikTok, if they sell TikTok, they're not going to sell the algorithm with it, which isn't going to do anybody a lot of good, because at that point, it's like you've already got Reels on Instagram. You've already got YouTube Shorts, which have destroyed YouTube. You know, but what I'm saying is, like, there's nothing to separate it then without the algorithm. Anybody could start a TikTok, a competitor. So we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Go out to Patreon, patreon.com/Clownfish TV for more exclusive content, sneak peeks at stuff that we're working on, and also check out the audio version of Clownfish TV and Derezed, wherever you find finer podcasts. You'll find ours in there too. So yeah, on April 1st, Kotaku put up an article that Bobby Kotick, former Activision Blizzard CEO, you know, the guy who was in charge when the Cosby Suite stuff went down. Yeah, apparently he was interested in buying TikTok. Today, there's an article out there talking about how billionaires are racing to buy TikTok, but they're not going to be able to buy the algorithm. So I guess we'll go out to the New York Post first. They said a handful of American finance and tech tycoons are gearing up for multi-billion-dollar bids to buy TikTok after Joe Biden signed an act which will force its Chinese owners to sell the app. Now, I have mixed feelings about this. Personally, I think that this is government overreach. I also feel that TikTok is a garbage app, but it does show that the government can get involved in social media in a very big way, and it might start with TikTok, but I'm kind of concerned about where it's going to end. It might set a precedent for them to break up other social media platforms if they don't like them for whatever reason. So, I mean, somebody's going to buy it. I just don't know what it's going to look like at the other side of it, and it's not going to be the same. I don't think TikTok is going to be the same, because apparently they're going to sell it without the algorithm. So they got some different people involved here, but they said that one of the suitors includes Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick, who has been reported to have spoken to OpenAI CEO Sam Altman about a possible proposal. And they're talking that even some people from Shark Tank might be interested in it. But all of them face formidable obstacles in prying TikTok from parent company ByteDance's hands and into American ownership. ByteDance has to divest TikTok or have the app banned entirely. China's Commerce Ministry said last year it would have to approve the divestiture of TikTok from ByteDance, and that's strongly opposed to any sale. It is strongly opposed to any sale. As a result, buyers appear unlikely to get access to the ultra-addictive algorithm, the technology that hooks users for hours on the app, showing them a stream of videos they want to see. So this is where TikTok is kind of insidious, I guess. I'm going to use air quotes here. But yeah, their algorithm is much more addictive, I think, than YouTube's. You find one video on a subject, and the next thing you know, your entire For You page is that particular subject. And then a lot of times they start throwing some creepy shit in there, for lack of a better term, you know, depending on what it is you're looking for. And this is why I think a lot of parents are concerned about TikTok. And I sound like one of these old men, get off my lawn, whatever. But it is. I mean, TikTok is as successful as it is because of its addictive nature, right? It's much more addictive than YouTube. But the videos were historically a lot faster than YouTube's. And the barrier to entry wasn't as high as YouTube. You could be a TikToker with just a phone. You need to go buy a bunch of video equipment and have a good mic, a setup, all that stuff. Just use your phone, do a stupid dance, give a stupid hot take, and you could go viral, right? So it means a potential buyer would only get a brand name and a user base and have to rebuild the technology and the team who creates it from scratch. So why bother buying it? Like, what would you be buying at that point? The buyer would have to raise billions. The valuation of TikTok is not public. Some analysts have put it at north of $100 billion with the algorithm, although it would be cheaper without it. Again, what's the point? You're buying KFC, but you're not getting the 11 herbs and spices, right? Is that how many there are? 11? 11 herbs? I don't know. You're not getting the secret sauce. You're buying the Krusty Krab. You're not getting the Krabby Patty recipe. So what's the freaking point? What's the point? And they said, yeah, Apple probably can't buy it. Facebook probably can't buy it because it'd be very, very hard for them to get through antitrust. But this comes from The Information. ByteDance exploring scenarios for selling TikTok without the algorithm. They're internally exploring scenarios for selling a majority stake in TikTok's U.S. business, preferably to companies outside the tech industry, and without the algorithm that recommends videos to TikTok users, said 3 people with knowledge of deliberations. Again, what